All right, fellas, I'm going to show you something about the Explorer heads. I know these are all rusty and nasty looking, but they've been sitting on the shelf for a little while. I kind of roughed them in. I hadn't finished them yet. These were going to be going, or might still be going, on the Dugan wagon. Trying to work a deal with Rodzilla about a set of twisted wedges. But we'll see how that works out. If not, these will go on there. After I get done with them, I'll put some more video of them once they get made to look pretty. But this is a head that I did what I was originally going to put on my red car, but I screwed it up. I kind of did what I'd read in magazine articles and on the interwebs about raising the roof of the exhaust port as it comes out. And with these heads, you know, some have a thermactor hole drilled all the way through the head, and some don't. You know, you don't have the big hole there. And I got into that hole. So, and that hole right there, you know, isn't a big deal, but the one above it, if you can see right in there, that little guy, that is the water jacket. That's the one you want to avoid. So, you really don't need to mess with the roof at all. If you concentrate on lowering the floor a little bit, you'll still get good flow out of it. But most importantly, when the exhaust comes out, like when you got the roof raised up, the exhaust is kind of coming out this way. Excuse the naked hand puppet. But then it hits the header and it's got to come down. Here it's got a nice smooth transition around the bottom of your out of the bowl, and then it kind of comes right down again. So it's a nice smooth linear curve. And what I did after I mangled that head, I took it out to one of our remote ranges and I cut it open. So you can see what they look like on the inside. You have a good amount of material on the floor, but like I said, you don't want to go down too far. This is the EGR port that goes across, and so what I do now is I start on the exhaust side when I do the port heads. Start on the exhaust side, that way if you do screw it up, you haven't wasted time on the intakes. So get the exhaust side done first, just make a nice smooth transition there. You don't need to go so wide on these. Like if you got 1 5/8 headers, the width is perfect the way they are from the factory. If you got 1 3/4, you can widen out a little bit. And then you can see a little bit of what I did on the intake. Really don't have a good way to show that in here, but I don't have any high-tech production equipment on this place over here. So, plus they're all, like I said, they're rusty. I'm gonna redo my old heads I had on the red car before. They're going on the Capri. So once I get them done, I'll make another video when those look a little better. But you can see on here, just widen the bowl a little bit and get a nice smooth transition into the chamber, narrow the valve guide some, and made a little teardrop shape. Like I said, these aren't done. They're just kind of roughed in with a burr. I hadn't done the sanding rolls or anything yet. And then on here in this bowl, just kind of lay that back a little bit so you don't have that flat spot that the exhaust is hitting. That's essentially it. Richard of, there went a burst of gravity. Richard of FOMO Bros is going to port a set of heads, so I told him I'd do a quick video to kind of see how the exhaust port looks. It's easier than trying to explain over a phone or texting. So anyway, I'm sure he'll have some. You can give him a follow on FOMO Bros on YouTube. And finally, I got to give a shout out to Anthony Tatum. He's up in Ozark, Alabama. He sent a lot of this stuff by mail. He sent the crank. Sent the crank, 2 distributors, 1 SN, 1 Fox, clutch pedal assembly with a clutch cable. Looks like a SN one. And then I got gaskets, all kinds of gaskets. Got 2 sets of, no, 1 set of rod bearings, 1 set of main bearings. I got 1 set of rings for 30 over, 1 set of rings for standard metric size. He said he wasn't going to use it. He's building a 347 to put in a Pinto. So kind of anxious to see how that works out. But a big shout out, big thank you to him. I told him not, I told him I said keep this stuff, use it for something or try to sell it. He said, no, man, you need to have it. So he sent it to me, and the arrest, like I said, he brought down. He came down to the track with us this Friday night, drove like an hour and a half just to bring all this stuff down. So we sure do appreciate it. I think the clutch pedal and the cable will probably end up in the Capri along with the distributor, and the crank will probably end up in a 306 I'm going to build for something. But I found, I was digging in my other garage and I found a set of 306 pistons and a set of rods already prepped with ARP bolts and resized and everything. I forgot I had them, but they'll get put to use eventually. So that's it. Appreciate y'all.